Hello, Patriots. It's July 13th, 2026, and here we are, the cool of the day. Got our work done. Some of us, I don't know if you can hear in the background, there's still tractors running around here because those farmers, man, they work till they can't work any longer, till the sun goes down and it gets dark out. They go out here. There's never ending work on these farms here, and God bless the families that do it. They have acquired land, they've developed land, they've invested their time and their money and their whole families in this land here. And it's beautiful to see them hanging on to that, because the government has been trying to attack the small farmer in favor of the corporate farmer for 50 years that I've seen since I've been paying attention to this. One of the biggest horrible things was the death tax, the estate tax, when these farmers die, and they want to pass the farm on to their descendants. The government comes in and taxes them at such a high rate that they got to sell the land to pay the tax bill. Why did we put up with that, Patriots? I don't know. But they're out there. They're still working because there's still daylight coming down on them, man. How are you all Patriots doing today? Hello, Barbara. Thank you for modding. And Carol. Best Troll House cookies on the internet. Sounds good. God bless you, mods. Let's see. Today is the 2-year anniversary of the shooting in Butler, where they just missed Trump's head by a centimeter, and but stray bullets hit 3 other people, and one of them other people died. And that guy's name is Cory Comperatore. And we got to never forget, Patriots. So rest in peace, Cory. Your death was not in vain. We continue to fight. God bless the MAGA warriors for having a memorial flag wave and moment of silence, and played a couple of bagpipe tunes for Cory and Cory's family. That's the only tribute that I saw anywhere today. I didn't spend all day on the tube though. I was working though. So yeah, we can never forget, Patriots. It's important to not forget these sacrifices that have been made for our continued freedom here. We are fighting for the survival of this country right now. There's no doubt about it, against enemies within this country. And finally, it seems to be getting some traction. And we can just never forget about Patriots like Ashley Babbitt, like Cory Comperatore, like Charlie Kirk, and the list goes on. Irina Zarutska, all the, so many deaths that have been put upon this country's population because of evil. And there's many reasons that they are evil. We can't explain it. We're not. So we fight against it, and we try to not become evil fighting against evil. That's the hard part, right? So rest in peace, Cory. We will strive to continue to keep the memory of your service to this country alive as a fireman, as a father who stood up and shielded his wife and children from bullets coming from a madman's gun. That was an enemy of America. Whoever that person is, we still don't know. A whole story on that. Someday I hope we will, but we don't know, and there's lots of speculation on that. And after Charlie Kirk's death, you can see where speculation just can run circles and circles around the truth to make the truth not even discernible. So, because we just watched people do that with Charlie Kirk's death. What's that chick's name? She just made a living out of conspiracy theories around a open and shut case, basically, is what we'll find out finally when justice is served to the shooter, Charlie Kirk's shooter. So it's good to see you all. And Cora Schooner's even around. How are you, Cora? And Jamie Crow. Yeah, Cory is a hero, man. He's a hero. He shielded his wife and daughters from those bullets. I remember watching footage of that. And there was other people that were sitting nearby the folks that got shot that were in that one stand off to the side of Trump, actually. And there was blood all over those bleachers that they were sitting on. I remember watching a young black man. He was in a white shirt and dress pants, like he just got off a lunch break or something. And he was there at the Trump rally. And after the wounded were carted away in ambulances, he just sat on those bleachers with blood all over his hands, his shirts, his pants, and just put his head in his hands. And he couldn't move. He didn't know what to do, you know. The travesty that he just eyewitnessed and then did everything that he could to help save the people that were sitting next to him. What an emotional catastrophe that is. And that's what these evil people are perpetrating on us, you know. I mean, let's do something about these evil people. Evil people like Judge Dugan, who is an officer of the law, a judge who conspired to hide an illegal and help him get away from ICE agents that were looking to remove him from the country. How does this woman get off? She goes through the trial. I'm sure she has emotional trauma from the trial and all that, but she got off with it. She got away with it, man. A woman who makes $180,000 a year has to pay a $5,000 fine. Whoopee. And doesn't get any jail time for a felony, a felony offense. We're in the era where felonies are zero jail time, Patriots. I don't know how we got here. I don't know how we got here. And God bless you, MAGA Warriors, for honoring a man. That was an awesome flag wave we had out there today. And check out the videos. There'll be some good videos tomorrow. And people, one of the things in the flag wave, man, is all the MAGA Warriors got together and played Amazing Grace on the bagpipes and stood in silence to honor Cory Comperatore, right? As soon as the song was over, somebody starts screaming from a car about how they were fascists and pedophile lovers and all that. I mean, it was disgusting that these people are allowed to walk free among us, man. And someday we're going to get to the point where that is not cool. I don't know how it'll get taken care of, but not cool. Not cool at all. Hi, Darlene and Jay Jones. What's up, brother? That was a good flag wave today, man. All right, Jamie, get that book written. Get that book written. She's writing a book about Freedom Corner, so can't wait to have a book just about Freedom Corner. I mean, that's going to be pretty cool. Okay, we had another death. And that was Lindsey Graham, died suddenly of an apparent heart attack hours after he got back from Ukraine for the 13th or 14th time in his life. The flags are lowered until Saturday. Trump is honoring him as a gifted politician. And I would imagine that, yeah, he is a good politician. But unfortunately, I can't stand politicians. I like people who get stuff done. Lindsey Graham, you know, he backed up Trump whenever Trump wanted to spend more money for wars and military and all that. But rest in peace, Lindsey Graham. All I can remember is how you left the J6ers hanging for 4 years over there in the DC gulag, and what else can I remember you for? Oh, the COVID vaccines, how you didn't stand up to any of the obvious fraud that happened in the CDC when this fraud of a pandemic was perpetrated onto the American public. You were right along with the program, right along with the brainwash. But yeah, you did fight for Justice Kavanaugh to get his Supreme Court justice seat. But then again, you voted for Sotomayor and Ketanji, so, all right, you're a politician. I get it. And Trump says he was a gifted one, but Trump is art of the deal. He will say things that we may disagree about because he's all about making a deal. He's all about how to work these politicians to get what we the people want. So rest in peace, Lindsey Graham. The governor of South Carolina, which is where Lindsey Graham was a senator from, has seated Lindsey Graham's sister into his seat until elections could be held, and that election there should be a primary. By the end of August, they're going to figure out who's going to run for Lindsey Graham's seat. The governor of South Carolina happens to be a Democrat, so I guess that was a nice gesture on his part, because he could have just went full libtard and installed another Ketanji for Lindsey's seat. I guess he could have done something goofy like that, but he didn't. And it's a weird story. Lindsey's sister is also his daughter. Whatever. You go to other people and get the rest of that story. But that's enough about Lindsey Graham, man. Thank you for your service. He was a veteran. He served in the Air Force, but never I was never a gung-ho Lindsey Graham fan. That's for sure. All right. So, for some reason, our Republican-led Congress and Senate, House of Representatives and Senate can't get the Save America Act passed. What is the delay here? We don't know. And for some reason, we know that this is what we need to put our faith back in this system that we have here. Just like we got to see some real justice in the courts to put our trust back into the judicial system, we need to see some effort put into making sure only United States citizens vote and that they don't cheat in any more elections. And we the people need this. We've demanded this Save America Act ever since Trump has gotten into office a year and a half ago at this point. 1.5 years now. We're still waiting, okay? So it's obvious. Congress is running out the clock. Congress only serves themselves, corporations, the media, and the crooked judge system, okay? Congress will not impeach a judge. I have never seen it. We scream for it all the time, but they will not impeach a judge. Like, they're not going to ever pass the Save America Act. So something else is going to happen here between now and Election Day, and I'm going to put my faith in Trump and his cabinet to come up with the loophole. There's got to be a loophole in order for us to get fair elections. There's all kinds of courtroom maneuvering going on now with, the postal office won't deliver to a fake address. All kinds of maneuvers happening right now other than passing the Save America Act. So the clown show in Congress continues. They insist on just representing themselves. Everyone in Congress does not want the Save America Act passed. because that's their grift. That is their system. That's the buddy system. That's why a Democrat won't narc on a Republican and vice versa, because they're all in the same club there, right? And both sides do not want the Save America Act passed. It's pretty darn obvious at this point. So when we finally get to that election and they have continuously refused to pass that act, we're going to have to bring it to the polls, man. Vote every single one of them out that would not vote for that. It's only a handful of Republicans, but every single Democrat has voted against the Save America Act. Every single one. All right, so I was sitting around bitching about high gas prices, right? I've been bitching about this for months. The price of oil comes down, but the price of gas stays high. It never comes down in ratio with the oil prices, barrel prices, right? As soon as Trump went to war, before the price of oil skyrocketed, the price at the pump skyrocketed instantly in a day or two of starting that. And it took a while for the barrel prices to catch up. And then the price of oil came back down, and the price stayed high now for a month or two or three. There's oil everywhere, man. It's just, there's tankers of it sitting around in the Persian Gulf right now. Tons of it. And it dawned on me, I was listening to Robert Guevara, who's an attorney on YouTube who explains things sometimes. And what I didn't think of is that the Green New Deal has been suing big oil relentlessly for the last 16 years, okay? The Save the Whale people, the Save the Polar Bear people, Al Gore, those people have been suing the big oil companies relentlessly for the last 16 years. And I guess big oil is getting sick of paying it because they're not lowering the prices, because they got all these fines and stuff they got to pay, amounting to billions of dollars for apparent environmental violations. I mean, there's real environmental violations, like when Prince Edward Sound, they had a tanker bust up there in Alaska. I mean, there was oil all over the place. They had to clean it up. The Exxon Valdez story. That was real. But this other stuff from the climate hoax people is causing big oil to pay billions and billions of dollars. So essentially, big oil is paying it and going, well, it's the cost of doing business in America. The odds are stacked against us. The courts are stacked against us. The libtards are stacked against us. They're going to make us continue to pay billion-dollar settlements continuously, all of them. And that's what I'm thinking now. It's another form of fraud. It's another form of the Democrats getting other people to pay for their existence, for their policies, when we don't even believe that the earth is really changing. I mean, we believe in God, who says that the sun will come up and the sun will go down, and the moon and everything in the heavens listens to God and doesn't stray from what he says to do. I mean, God takes care of the planet. It isn't like an organic being. It obeys what God created it to be. So for mankind to think that they can destroy the earth is rather pompous, in my opinion, and it's a biblical fallacy. But the Democrats believe it wholeheartedly because they make tons of money off of it, right? They cost us a lot of our money, our work, our equity in this country by fining the big oil companies billions and billions of dollars. It's got to be what it is, right? It's got to be what it is. So just like Nick Shirley goes out and finds all the fraud in Minnesota, goes out to LA, finds all the fraud in LA. Nick Shirley just went to New York, found a bunch of fraud in New York with the senior centers now. That's the next big thing. This is just suing the big oil companies in court is just another one of these grips, man. These ways of sucking money out of the economy that they're not entitled to. At least that's just a theory of mine. So now, Trump, the art of the deal guy, he knows this. He knows the libtards are suing the big oil companies for billions of dollars. And maybe they would lower their prices like Trump asked them to do if Trump can do something about the lawsuits. All these frivolous lawsuits get run through our corrupt freaking court system, you know? So, we elected a guy in office, Trump. I think he's doing his job. I think he's doing a great job. And the people on his cabinet, he knows who he can trust and who he can't trust. Speaking of who you can trust and who you can't trust, I heard that there's 2 reporters for the New York Times who are being questioned by the FBI right now for leaking sensitive information about Air Force One. When Trump took the new Air Force One plane over to Turkey, who is a partner with Iran, by the way, okay? I mean, there's a lot of innuendo in this meeting that Trump had with Erdogan, the president of Turkey, right? But apparently there was a plane switcheroo and Trump had to fly in the other Air Force One or whatever, something happened that wasn't right. Well, it turns out that some of that information got leaked, and you're not allowed to do that. So I'm thinking the New York Times reporter or photographer that was on Air Force One, they were expecting to get back on Air Force One. They didn't get back, and then they called their buddies and said, Trump is under, there's a security threat because of whatever, They shouldn't have done that. So hopefully the justice system here has a chance to earn some of our respect back with some type of an investigation and a prosecution of that, Who can you trust? We know who you can't trust, but it's tricky catching them. And I think Trump is catching them. He's setting them up. They're taking the bait, and he's catching them one by one. And the signs of that is happening are everywhere. Robert Guevara, the lawyer on YouTube, went through a bunch of different cases today, which has to do with the background fights that are going on in the higher levels of court right now across the country. One who's the judge, another judge with a goofy name, said that Trump, I don't know. Another judge tried to shut down what Trump wants to do again, and they're all fighting about that right now. Again, Judge Keegan is compromised. I don't know all the stories. I do know that there's a big fight going on in the courts right now. And if you want to know about it, Robert Guevara is a good guy to watch. I do believe what he's doing there. He's doing a good job of that. Okay, today Trump was a whirlwind of activity. He had a little rally about the Freedom 250 Grand Prix race they're going to have through the streets of DC in August. I think this is going to be incredible. He says 250,000 tickets have been bought so far. So just like that UFC fight that he had on the White House lawn, this is going to be the most watched Grand Prix event in history. Just like the UFC event was the largest UFC event watched in history. So he's just setting records all over the place. The dude is, he's a marvel. He's a human marvel. Like, what a role model for anybody to look up to what Trump does, you know. In the meantime, he's managing a war over in Iran and you know, trying to investigate the Obama and all the other stuff, the stolen election of 2020 and the COVID misinformation stuff. He's just a whirlwind of activity, and he is getting it done, man. So he is a remarkable human being, I gotta tell you. Then after the Freedom 250 Grand Prix event there that he held with like the Penske team, you know, Mr. Penske was there. He's like a multi-billionaire from the Penske oil dynasty. And now he races $1 million cars through the streets. And so after he's done with that, he went and signed an executive order today, which reversed a little thing that the Democrats were trying to do by taking large swaths of land out west and turning them into national monuments, okay? So there is large swaths of land out there, and they got like Indian Pueblo cliff dwellings on them and stuff like that. And there is a clause that says that you can the national government can set up a national monument, right? But these monuments were only supposed to be like, you know, 100 acres or 1,000 acres would be a big one, you know. Well, Clinton and Obama and Joe Biden came in and started establishing these national monuments that were millions of acres big, which took the managerial duties away from the state where that land was and put it into the federal government was now in charge of this land. And they screwed it all up. You know, they've mismanaged it. They wouldn't let people access that land. People have been using that land over in Utah. This is one that he signed about specifically today. 2 million acres, 2 separate 1 million acre national monuments that the national government came in and said, it's ours now. Nobody can walk on it because it's a heritage site or it's an archaeological site. When it's not. It's just land that people that lived there have been using forever, taking kayak trips through there and hiking and rock climbing and all that stuff. And they came in and just usurped state lands. So the executive order today that Trump signed was really cool, man, in that it reverses this land grab policy that the feds did on certain states out west when they tried to declare these unreasonably huge national monument areas under federal jurisdiction. Some of the land is already owned by BLM, by state, but the federal government usurped that land. And Trump gave it back to him, man. So the governor of Utah and the Secretary of State of Utah were standing right next to Trump when he signed that. They were very thankful about it. And nothing more will be said about it, right? But there it is. Trump just reversed Democrat stupidity, okay? And there's a whole list of more that needs to be done. But he is getting it done. That's right. Jay's giving the nation back to the people. Exactly. That's what he said from day one, man. From day one. And then the reporters started asking questions about Iran. You know, I mean, so he's there signing an EO about land and in America and Americans. He's doing this for America, and they right away they start up asking questions about Iran. So he goes on and answers the questions from Iran. You know, he didn't like stumble up the stage like FJB would do. He sat there and answered the questions again. And he was like just putting up the facts. You know, they don't have a Navy. They don't have an Air Force. They don't have a radar system. They don't have communications anymore. They don't have nuclear power anymore. And yet the CNN is insistent on continuing to say Iran's doing a good job of fighting. You know, they're first line of leaders is dead. Their second line of leaders are all dead. The third line of leaders can't figure out who's in charge. And CNN and New York Times are out there saying, yeah, Iran's doing a pretty good job of fighting against us, you know. Just they're belligerently stupid to the facts of what's going on. And it's obvious. We all know it. Trump brought up the fact that, you know, since this war started, Iran has killed 52,000 of their own people for protesting against the government there. I mean, we protest against the government all the time there, but in Iran, they opened fire on you, and they did, and they killed 52,000. That's the number Trump said, man. Yeah, Jay Jones says Trump signed an EO for guys that were working on their own cars that were sent to prison. That was like trademark stuff, right? And there's a lot of this retardation that has to get reversed because we've been just taking it for so long. But anyways, Iran's looking good, CNN. Yeah, they just killed 52,000 of their own people. And inflation is 350% in Iran, okay? Iran is not looking good right now. It is not at all looking good back there. And if you insist on saying that, then you're an enemy of the country, basically. You're spreading propaganda. You're not a source of truth of anything. So we continue to not listen to mainstream media anymore. Fox News included. I just watched Fox News. They brought on Nick Shirley, okay? Nick Shirley found all the fraud in Minnesota, LA, New York now. They were interviewing about the fraud in New York, you know. And there's Fox News. They got 4 reporters going, Nick, you're doing such a great job. How do you find all this stuff? And yet, this is Fox News' job that Nick Shirley is doing. Nick Shirley is doing it because Fox News isn't doing it, basically. I mean, throughout history, when I was growing up, the local news would find corruption, write a story about it, expose it, organize people who stand against it, and it would take care of a lot of corruption. Well, mainstream media doesn't do that anymore. And there's Fox News interviewing Nick Shirley, but not lifting a finger to go find more, all right? How about Fox News go out and look this Green New Deal money that the big oil's getting that's getting siphoned off of the big oil, you know? Somebody write a story about that. It takes a little time to look up all the records of the court cases and the settlements to figure out, to see the bigger picture, that every year, every oil company in America is paying billions of dollars in fines, and that's why the price of gas is so high. Possibly. I don't know. That one might be like over Nick Shirley's head, and we need some professional people, like lawyers, to go look for this stuff, but they don't. They don't. All right, so Trump is giving a national address on Thursday. So be sure to catch Trump's national address on Thursday. Nobody knows what he's talking about, but we're thinking it's going to be some huge something or other, you know. And speculation is it's about election fraud stuff. So, like bona fide evidence of the election fraud stuff. There's going to be no reason to not pass the Save America Act after this Thursday night speech that Trump is going to give us. So hopefully that's what it is. But if there's one thing you watch, it's the Trump stuff, right? All right, and the reason we should pass the Save America Act, I just watched a clip of a Democrat named Slotkin, some woman, Democrat leader, I don't know if she's a senator or what, who's telling her people that if the Save America Act passes, that the Democrats will never win an election again. So there you have it. We've been saying that. Now the Democrats are out openly saying it. And now they have to say why they deserve to allow illegal aliens to continue to vote. You know, that's obviously why they brought tens of millions of them into this country. That was the plan. And it was a can of worms, man, because they're outbreeding us. They're going to outnumber us. And if we don't bump up the deportations quick, this country's in some dire straits, man. And then, so Congress is passing a thing about daylight savings time. This is what they consider is so important to talk about and spend their time on right now, that they want to, I forget if they want it always to be daylight savings time or if we're just going to go back to the regular time. I don't even know. But that's what Congress is talking about. They're not talking about the Save America Act. They're not talking about, well, the next big thing that's going to be coming up is these flock cameras. They got cameras in the big cities, man. They can read license plates. We all seen them, right? Because when the J6 pipe bomber information came out, remember how they said, and we tracked his car. It went past here at 10:15 on Sunday night, you know. So these cameras can read license plates. They can read facial recognition in the cars. They can identify phones that are on in the cars. So these flock cameras are sprouting up all over the place. It's become a new epidemic. If you're lucky, you don't live in a flock camera covered area, right? Because otherwise, your every movement is being watched and documented and recorded. I've seen where people have been arrested now because the cops used the flock camera and found that some lady drove 36 times to this spot where a crime happened, right? But she had another reason to be going to that spot. And she wasn't even the lady that was in the videos. You know, I mean, the cops will misuse this information. The cops are using the flock cameras to track their girlfriends, okay? To make sure their girlfriend isn't seeing somebody behind her back, you know? I mean, they're not qualified to handle that secretive of information. And it goes against the Fourth Amendment of we have the right to travel freely. And I mean, if Congress really was going to do something of real influence, it would be, let's start talking about flock cameras now from a federal level, you know. But they love them flock cameras in D.C. They're everywhere. They've been everywhere for a long time. They were most of the cameras at the J6 thing on 2021, right? There's other things, man. Just be careful. I just found out that the League of Women Voters is behind these lawsuits. And I can't remember what lawsuits they're behind, but these organizations that potentially some of you guys might be giving money to are not good organizations, you know. We've seen how the Catholic charities were used to facilitate the migration of all these illegal aliens into this country. So a lot of people were donating money to that and unknowingly facilitating the invasion of our country by illegal voters, basically. Same thing with the Red Cross. The Red Cross was involved with some stuff. I can't even remember why, but I'll never give Red Cross any money again, you know. I'd give a guy $20 at a stop sign with a need help sign, but I'm not going to give $20 to any of these organizations anymore. And the League of Women Voters just is another one right now. They are facilitating continued lawsuits against organizations and elements of the government, people in our government that are trying to progress freedom in this country. Well, right on, Trina. At least they caught them 5 cops misusing the flock camera stuff. And they should get prosecuted. But did they actually get sentenced, punished to any meaningful degree? Or were they, a lot of times they fire the cop. They give him paid time off to not come to work for a while. Then they fire him. And then the guy just goes to another town in another state and gets hired as a cop again. That happens all the time with the cops. The cops got a whole scene that they follow. They will not rat on their own. It's part of the corruption. Part of the corruption. So I just figured that was enough stuff to get on and start talking about today, Patriots. I hope you're having a good day. Sounds like the farmer finally put his tractor away. I hope he gets a nice hot meal and a good rest tonight so he can get up. The tobacco fields are looking so good around here. We got corn and soybeans all over the place. Hay. It's just so beautiful. We got 15 places I can buy farm fresh raised eggs here, It's a slice of paradise where I'm at right now. Wish you guys could enjoy that. Just said they were fired. All right, so that's one of the cop games that they play, man. There's a couple dudes on YouTube that I watch. I posted videos from Here's the Deal, and he's a crazy guy. I don't agree with everything the guy says, but he shows the corruption of the cops, man. Afro Man. You guys ever hear Afro Man? He wrote that song, Hunter Got High. He just had an ordeal with the cops. They raided his house while he wasn't home, but his home security cameras caught it all. And he made up some hilarious videos about the cops who raided his house, who didn't find anything, by the way. So they invaded his privacy, damaged his doors, didn't find anything. The cops got a warrant on a lie. Somebody lied about what was in the guy's house and it wasn't there. And so then he just made videos that ridiculed these cops. And then the cops got all butthurt and sued him for, libel or defaming them. And then, so Afro Man took him to court and won. Yeah, the Afro Man, he wrote the song, And Then I Got High, back in 90s or whatever. And then when the Hunter Biden stuff came out, he reissued that song called And Then Hunter Got High. And then he's got these 2 new songs about these doofus cops that raided his house called Pound Cake and Lick 'em Low Lisa. And these cops got, they claim they got PTSD from his song, They're crazy. But they deserved it. They deserved it, man. They invaded this guy's freedom and privacy on a lie. And they knew it was a lie. They just pretended they thought it was real, Oh yeah, where's Mitch McConnell? We got all this going on. All right, so here we got 2 rhinos eliminated, basically. So we're winning, Patriots. We are definitely winning. Oops. So I'm going to leave you guys hanging there. I know your time is valuable. I'm going to sign out right now. I'm just wondering, where's Mitch? Where's Mitch now, Patriots? So God bless you all, Patriots. This is Jericho. Over and out.